What is going on, everybody? It is episode 798 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and I am here on this wonderfully overcast Monday afternoon with my co-host. Introduce yourself, please.
Hello, crisis actors. It's Mary, and we are back from the weekend. Happy St. Patrick's Day to those Catholics who celebrate, especially descendants of the Irish diaspora, such as myself.
I asked Mary, I said, do I wish you a happy St. Patrick's Day?
I mean, I guess. I'm Catholic, and I have Irish blood,
Yeah.
so there's that, but I'm not a fan of the Shamrock Shake. You are.
Oh yeah.
They actually this year have a Shamrock McFlurry, and I recommended it to you.
I don't even, that's
You're running out of time to try it.
That doesn't even sound as good to me. I feel
it's like an Oreo Shamrock
so it's like
McFlurry. You were very intrigued when I first mentioned it, so maybe I had you wrong.
No, maybe I should go try. I haven't been to a McDonald's in so long that, like,
Just out of principle?
No. It's just like I don't really go through drive-thrus ever. I don't really eat a whole lot of fast food. For as unhealthy as I eat, I don't eat a lot of fast food.
Well, since I stopped eating Taco Bell, I realized I just don't even really go to any other fast food
You're like, oh man, this
like
is awesome.
I get coffee at McDonald's, but I never get food there almost ever.
Yeah.
And I also realized over the weekend that this crunchy trend that's been going around and popularizing on the right wing circles online, it's actually not just online. It's kind of becoming a thing in real life, because I went to this restaurant and the other night, and the guy says, "Would you like sparkling or still tap water? Don't worry, we purify our tap water. It's hyper purified. There's no fluoride in it." And I was like,
Wow.
That's fine. That water is fine." And then
We use a Brita at home. Does that get rid of the fluoride?
and then he recommends their French fries, and he's like, "They're fried in beef tallow, just so you know."
I wonder.
And I was like,
I would like to know how they feel about it. Like the people who work
okay.
there.
Yeah,
Like,
do they think that's stupid and it's just like a gimmick that they're using
or
on
they're
us?
just like,
Or-
if anything that gets me more tips.
Right, but they like felt like they were catering to a certain crowd that is interested in those things.
Did you see the back and forth on X where Steak and Shake posted a new ad and somebody's like, Steak and Shake went Nazi, and they're like, Old English font is Old English font. It's got nothing to do with Nazis, you weirdo.
I did not see that. I saw Alex Clark and her crusade against Steak and Shake because they're lying about the beef tallow.
Yeah.
They are liars. They have pre-cooked French fries that are cooked in seed oils, and then they fry them again in the beef tallow, but it still has seed oils in it, and they're not telling people that. They're like, "Oh, we're like working to perfect our recipe, blah blah blah." No, just like say what you're doing. Like it's not that complicated. Or make the switch and announce it when you've actually done it.
Nah, corporation's gonna corporation. They're gonna do things the way they are. Look,
We do have a 20, by the way. I didn't want to
20s.
forget about this. Shane H. Wilder said, "Happy St. Patrick's Day, Brett and Mary. A friend of mine, a Catholic YouTuber, the religious hippie, brought up the hobbies issue. I made a post about it because she was being slammed bad. I forgot people be cray-cray up in here." Wait, what hobbies issue?
I don't know what that. The men having hobbies.
Like, what's the issue?
Like calling people. Was she the one who was talking? No, it wasn't her. It was somebody else that was talking about men being obsessed with hobbies and calling them man-child. I don't pay
Wait,
attention.
she said that?
No, it was somebody
Or-
else who said that. I don't pay attention to internet gossip
Shane,
drama.
I don't know about the drama that you're
Shane,
referring to.
you'd have to refresh Mary's memory about this. I don't even know how to search for it on X, but it was a whole thing. It was okay. So here's the thing, guys. Every so often, some topic goes viral that has to do with either the gender wars or everybody arguing. Sometimes it's about women on OnlyFans. Sometimes it's about something like this, which was about like men being really, really immersed in their hobbies, and whoever it was critical of men being immersed in their hobbies, and it became this back and forth online. And at that point, I tune out because I don't care. But I remember people arguing.
This was like recently?
This is just like last week.
I don't know if I've been paying enough attention to
I spent the whole
next outrage cycle.
I spent most of the week, like I made a post on Friday. I was like, get the hell out of the house and go do something on the weekend so you're not on X all weekend.
My goal is always to be the person who starts an outrage cycle and then checks out 5 seconds later and lets everyone cannibalize each other. We have another 20.
Mute the notifications.
Exactly. I loved TikTok for that reason. Weary Traveler said, I second the Shamrock Shake suggestion. It is truly an amazing feat of American innovation.
Yeah. That and pretzels with peanut butter inside them.
Well, those are good. But I disagree. I'm not a mint person. When I buy Zins, I don't get the minty Zins of any kind. I get cinnamon. And, like, I don't like mint chocolate chip ice cream, like all of those types of things. It's not my thing.
When you said like a Shamrock McFlurry, I'm like, I don't know if I want. Is it like a mint cookie in there? I don't know.
No, it's just the Oreo McFlurry, but it has mint. Like imagine like mint ice cream instead of vanilla.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, maybe I will try.
They do have mint cream Oreos.
I've done so
You've
good
tried
about
those, right?
not. Yes, I have tried those.
So it's like that. In ice cream form.
I've done so well about not eating fast food, and like even I'm like I've been eating more vegetables and fruit lately, so
Golf
you know,
claps?
not a crunchy by any means, but you know, not dying at 40 would be good. So
you know, vegetables actually kill you too.
Well, you know, at least I can go out with a sense of moral superiority.
Great.
Guys, before we get started, hit the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel if you are new here and you have not subscribed already. I want to remind everybody that on Wednesday we have episode 800 of PCC, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Tim is going to be here for this part of the show. He when I told people this on IRL on Friday, he goes, why ruin the surprise? I'm like, bro, this ain't pro wrestling. We don't need surprises. The whole point is to announce it ahead of time so that hopefully people that don't normally tune in will check it out. So we will have a lot of fun with that on episode 800. Other people will be here. It will be a longer stream. We'll be going live from 2 p.m. rather than 3 p.m. So don't say we
we'll have
did not
all the
warn
extra
you.
time to, you know, have a bunch of crisis parties, read Superchats, and hang out.
So what are we talking about today? We got a bunch of stuff to get into today. We're going to talk about Justin Bieber is still going through what seems to be a mental breakdown of sorts. We'll get into it. He posted some stuff on Instagram. He looks like he just got out of prison. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about Snow White. The Shills are out in force. Remember, the embargo for Snow White does not lift until the 19th, which is automatically a sign that they don't have a whole lot of faith in your movie when they're keeping everybody tongue-tied up until the very last minute to try and trick people into going their movies. But people were allowed to give social media reactions, which means people who got early access screenings, surprise Pikachu face, really enjoyed this movie. So we're going to go through them.
Access media shills.
Perhaps there's some truth to it. We will find out on Thursday because Mary is forcing me at knife point to go and watch this movie.
At Apple Point.
At Apple Point, yes.
I don't know.
So we are going to go.
Apple.
We're going to talk about the Shills. We're also going to talk about the last of the premiere. They're getting this movie rolled out and they're doing the last of their promotion. So we're going to get into it. Also, Kim K and Kanye are both going to war together over the names of North. North
and
as a
all
trademark.
Of their children, yeah.
And all of that stuff because Kanye wants to put North's name in a song with Diddy, which just seems like a horrible idea to me.
Yeah, he's launching her music career alongside Puff Daddy because this is his redemption arc.
We got that. We got a bunch of other stuff. If you're ready, we can just get started. You ready?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, let's go for it.
So it seems like Justin Bieber is always in the headlines for worrying his fans and potentially going through divorce or mental health struggles or having some kind of breakdown. And regardless of how true that is, he is very liberal with how he opens up emotionally on social media. And he's seen looking emotionally fraught in public quite often as well.
He's an artist. Artists are emotional.
Yeah, that makes sense. It seems to be a little bit too often for people's comfort.
See, the thing is like, what's interesting is like people take for granted the fact that like when you're not an artist, and you hear music or see a movie that really moves you emotionally, right? That's a luxury that very few people get to experience on a regular basis, but artists are kind of always in the headspace to be creating stuff like that. So it's not like you can just turn it off. They're bleeding hearts. That's why they make the things that they make.
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe this is what makes him unique and what people like about him in a way, but it's also the reason why he gets torn down so often and fuels all of these rumors about his personal life. But these latest 2 posts that he made on his Instagram story caught a lot of attention, and people feel like this is a sign that he is spiraling and going through some kind of meltdown behind the scenes. Here was the first one. I was always told when I was a kid not to hate, but it made me feel like I wasn't allowed to have it, and so I didn't tell anyone I've had it. Which made me feel like I have been drowning, feeling unsafe to acknowledge it. I think we can only let hate go by first acknowledging that it's there. How couldn't we feel hate from all the hurt we have experienced?
You have to learn the female tactic for this, which is to virtue signal, but also be really mean to people behind the scenes. That's what women do.
He's saying that he was taught not to be hateful.
Yeah.
I guess most people are taught that.
I mean, I don't know if
he found there was a turmoil within him because
he felt it, but then
felt
like
hateful towards people and beat himself up over it and became quite scrupulous.
Also, that term is a loaded, the word hate in itself is a loaded term, because when people use the term hate now, a lot of people think that you're talking about racial hate, gender hate, some type of wedge issue hate, when you could just be mean to people to be mean to people. You could remember, have you ever heard the term, like the idea that when they say it's like, whatever happened to that guy who's just an asshole? Like now it's like he hates you because you're this, because you look this way, because you're this gender. No, back in the day, at least when I was growing up, there was people who were just jerks because they were jerks and they were equal opportunity haters. Mm-hmm. And when he uses that term, I don't know if he's talking about some type of wedge issue type of hate or if he's just talking about general all-encompassing dislike for people.
Well, with the context of him recently mass unfollowing and blocking members of his managerial team, I think that this could be related to how he feels hate in his heart for people who have done him wrong in his career, and especially as he was growing up in the spotlight. These people include Scooter Braun, Usher, and a lot of other people that you maybe haven't heard of that are not household names, but who were deeply involved in promoting him and basically working on him as a company.
People in the chat are saying that it looks like song lyrics. Seems a little ham-fisted to be song lyrics to me.
I mean, if it were song lyrics, then he would have released a song, right?
Or it's promotion for a song that's coming out, but it would be, I feel like it would be more, like it's just literally a story post, right?
Yeah, it's just his like stream of consciousness. He then followed
Taylor Swift would never. It would be like specific font and...
She's way more calculated.
Way more branded.
He followed it up with this one. People told me my whole life, wow, Justin, you deserve that. And I personally have always felt unworthy. Like I was a fraud. Like when people told me I deserve something, it made me feel sneaky. Like, damn, if they only knew my thoughts, how judgmental I am, how selfish I really am, they wouldn't be saying this. I say all of this to say, if you feel sneaky, welcome to the club. I definitely feel unequipped and unqualified most days.
Let me let you in a secret, guys. If Justin Bieber can feel imposter syndrome, it's over for the rest of us.
So I guess that he feels like he's not worthy of the amount of comfort and luxury that he enjoys at this stage in his life?
That proves that he is an artist, because if he was just a normal, pragmatic person, he would say, I am a person who offers this service, be it music, live events. I am paid equal to the work that I put in and the value that I provide, but that's obviously not what he's talking about. He's talking about it from an emotional perspective.
We have a 20 from Shane H. Wilder. The issue was hobbies that were child's fare, cosplaying, toys, etc., the delayed adulthood. Obviously, she was against it, not saying you can't enjoy a Marvel movie or anything, but you shouldn't make it your personality.
I mean, I don't remember the post being that specifically well explained. It seemed more vague than that.
Was it? I don't know what post it was. I don't know.
I'd have to find it again. I don't remember it being like you explained it in a way that makes more sense to me than I didn't gather that from the first one. It seemed like they were just talking about like Legos and hobbies in general, and the idea was like, look, if I'm guessing that the pushback from people was like, look, if he pays his bills, if he takes care of his family, if he spends time with his kids, if he does all of these other things, and he likes to spend some of his free time building Lego sets or watching Lord of the Rings, then who is anybody to tell that dude what he can do with what little free time he has? I'm guessing that it was not that well posted, because most of the things that go viral are just poorly worded and don't end up saying what they mean, right?
Yeah.
Like if it was that well worded, then nobody would be arguing, but everybody's arguing, so clearly it wasn't that well worded.
Well, that's not exactly true. You're going to be misinterpreted regardless of how well you write. So
I'd like to think that I give people the benefit of the doubt.
Like, you are going to be interpreted in the least charitable way possible, no matter how you phrase anything.
Yeah.
That is going to happen. So whoever this was,
it
doesn't really matter what she said. It was going to be twisted regardless.
Somebody should send me the link.
I find it interesting that Justin Bieber opens up like this emotionally on social media and gets so vulnerable with people who don't care about him or have parasocial relationships with him. And then it usually doesn't go well. People start mass panicking about that he's going through some kind of catastrophic mental health crisis. And then he follows it up with so many troll posts too. Like he's trying to goad people into a certain reaction. I wanted to show this video that he posted about a week ago where he's wearing this wig and like trolling for the camera.
Just do it!
He looks like so different.
I swear to God, you're not gonna do it. You're not gonna fucking do it, bro. You're not gonna do it, you freaking idiot. You're not gonna do it.
Oh, he felt it.
He's emotionally dysregulated.
Does he not look like a different person? Like, he does look really rough these days. I don't know why, or if it's related to drugs,
Bro
or
just can't grow a beard.
Emotional.
If he shaved his
problems.
face clean, he would look completely fine.
He definitely has gotten like scrawnier. Like I can see his face has like thinned out in a lot of these paparazzi photos, and he looks unhappy most of the time. Maybe he just has an RBF, I don't know. But he also recently sparked a huge debate among his fans after sharing a photo smoking a bong on Instagram, and people started worrying about him having substance abuse issues.
Shocking.
To which he followed it up with a video of him smoking a gigantic blunt afterwards to continue the trolling and make the reaction even more extreme.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So the idea is that he's emotionally dysregulated. He can't stop himself from making the emotionally vulnerable post. And then after doing that, and the post isn't received exactly precisely 100% the way he wants it to, he can't help himself from making the response post.
Yeah.
It's just being emotionally immature or emotionally dysregulated.
Well, I think a better choice might be to create some distance from himself and the media and social media as well. And that is rumored to be their next step. Justin and Hailey Bieber are ready to buy a European mansion to flee the madness of health concerns and divorce rumors spreading in the U.S.
I mean, props for the hipster reason for leaving. It's got nothing to do with politics. He's just like, nah, I'm out of here.
It has nothing to do with Trump. He just doesn't want to be in the reach of TMZ anymore. Sources told The Sun that
Do you think he knows
Hailey
what tariffs
Bieber
are?
and Justin Bieber's marriage is on the rocks, and their issues are described as bigger than just a fight. However, a different insider specializing in real estate in Southern Europe claims that they've been instructed by the Biebers to find a retreat for them where the couple can enjoy time far away from the spotlight. They want to enjoy a simpler life again, a slower pace of life to reconnect in a quiet environment.
Look, I'm not saying that money buys happiness, but Zillow hits different when you can just buy whatever's on there.
I'm sure it does.
Do you think?
I'm surprised that they
Bro,
don't already
do you
have a property there to begin with.
Do you think that he just gets like?
How'd they not do this
Do you think he
already?
stays up late, eats junk food, and like buys stuff on Zillow? I bet he does.
Just like Temu, but for people who are like in the
Of a certain tax
multi-millionaire
bracket, yeah.
net worth.
He doesn't. Okay, sorry. He doesn't buy it. He puts it into like a. Does Zillow have a cart? Do I get to put like a property in a cart? He puts the property in the cart, or do you think he just like maybe one day he bought one of those like Amazon tiny homes drunk and it showed up the next day and he's like, what the fuck?
I mean, that's kind of what I picture Mr. Beast doing,
Yeah.
but he's like way more calculated with it than he.
Well, yeah,
claims to
he's
be.
like he's not just the front. He's one of those examples like Tim, who's like he's the business mind and the front facing. Justin Bieber's more the front facing. I don't really think of him as like a business minded person.
I was
He's
under
like,
the impression that he was going to take legal action against former business managers
Yeah.
for mishandling his funds for years, but that never came to fruition.
I mean, that could just still be in there. They could just still be in the works.
that might be later this year.
Yeah.
Remains to be seen.
We'll have to wait and see. All right. Look, we were just talking about Justin Bieber. We were asking questions. Does he have substance abuse issues? Do you know who doesn't have substance abuse issues? Gen Z. Well, actually, that's not necessarily true, but
I'm really not a fan of this teetotaling trend in Gen Z. We've discussed this before. Gen Z is drinking alcohol at lower rates than every adult generation prior to them. And people have brought this up as something to celebrate. I disagree because they are not drinking for all the wrong reasons. They haven't made some kind of moral stand. It's not a sobriety movement. It's really just a movement away from other people. And I saw this viral post over the weekend about this new trend. Why did Gen Z quit drinking alcohol? It got a huge response. And here were some of the explanations they came up with, which I also don't buy. The first one being abusive parents. I don't know if that makes any sense. Are we going to claim that Gen Z specifically had alcoholic parents at a higher rate than prior generations? If anything, it would be the opposite. And then I saw another reply say, alcohol is bad for you, tastes like shit, and is only really good in social events. The last part is pretty juicy. It's only good in social events. I thought that's what it was for, actually. You're not supposed to sit at home alone drinking your sorrows away. It is actually meant for moments when you're enjoying yourself with other people. And that's really the crux of the issue. Gen Z has completely forfeited social gatherings and embraced bed rotting, doom scrolling, and basically total solipsism.
Yeah.
That's the reason why they've moved away from drinking and social drugs toward other drugs like internet dopamine. They are ripping THC pens in their bedrooms. They're watching pornography. They're on SSRIs of all different scripts. And it's all replacement drugs.
I mean,
They're
that's what
not
happened-
sober.
That's what happened to me, right? Like I was never a big drinker, but I did plenty of drugs and I did them by myself. So depending on your personality type, and that is, I lean that direction. Luckily, building new habits and hobbies outside of just skating, like building up new like neural pathways has allowed me to kind of move past that and be more social again. Getting engaged also helped with that a lot too. But my natural inclination has always been towards being more isolated. And certain drugs definitely lean you into that more. Luckily, I was never a drinker. If I had been, that's even worse. Like something, maybe it was actually like the social stigma. Like it bypassed my brain that the stuff I was doing was also wrong. But somehow the idea of like drinking alone just felt even worse to me.
Yeah, I don't even understand the appeal of that.
Yeah.
It is, in my mind, something that you only engage with when you're with other people. Not because you need it to, like, make people tolerable to you. It just enhances a social environment. And there's nothing wrong with that inherently. As for the health concerns, I don't believe for a second that Gen Z is more health conscious than other generations.
I mean, okay, I don't know. I don't necessarily know if I agree with that. So these days, think about it like 20 years ago. It wasn't until like, somebody can correct me on the year, but it was within the last 3 to 5 years where water finally became the #1 drink in America over soda. Soda for decades and decades was the #1 drink that everyone like. And I watch old movies and television shows, and characters are just casually drinking soda. You don't really see that much anymore. It's mostly water. I do think that as time has gone on, I think there's also the other perspective would be they know that they're eating unhealthy, and then they blame the system where they're like, I can't afford to go to the grocery store and buy healthy food, therefore, oh no, I just have to eat junk all the time.
Well, that just means they're more likely to still be unhealthy,
Yes.
but not take accountability for it.
But I do think that there's, at the very least, there's a push towards healthier living that feels more spearheaded by millennials than, like, older millennials than Gen Z.
Yeah, I would agree
Or,
with that.
Younger millennials than Gen Z.
You mean the ones who are closer in age to Gen Z,
Yes,
but not quite?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Like, for the most part, you didn't really hear much talk about healthy food and drink. Like, I don't ever remember when I was growing up, like, drink this much water a day. Maybe they did say that, but I don't ever remember anyone saying that. It was drink milk.
But that was because of big
It was propaganda. Did you see all those ads?
Well, it
Got
was
milk?
actually subsidized by the government, yeah. And I saw these viral tweets around the same time. Zoomers aren't drinking. Zoomers aren't dancing. They aren't even having sex. Worst of all, they aren't reading either. In fact, it's entirely unclear what they do with the same 24 hours their ancestors had to deal with every day. All we know is that everyone hates themselves and that bite dance stock is up. We have no idea what the interior lives are of these young people or what their hobbies include. I was rewatching Clueless the other night. And of course, this is somewhat unrealistic, but you're seeing a room full of teenage characters at a house party. Not a phone in sight. It was 1995.
Yes.
And
they had cell phones in the cover of the movie.
They had cell phones. It was just not, a smartphone. And they were dancing and drinking and having fun. And I'm sure that's more realistic in the setting of LA in 1990, like Beverly Hills in 1995.
That was happening when I was in high school.
Yeah.
And there was phones, but we didn't have smartphones.
Yeah. And that does not happen anymore. It's not something that Gen Z takes any interest in. And I really think it's that they have this
there was a
solipsistic attitude.
There was also a sense of safety around that behavior back then where you could act out and it wasn't going to be caught on camera and become some viral moment that ruined your life. So we did and said plenty of stuff that would have got us in a lot of trouble when we were growing up. And I wasn't even, it's not like I acted out when I was in high school. For the most part, at that time, skating was in its own, like there was plenty of kids that were coming up at that time that were like straight edge without calling themselves that, meaning like they didn't claim the label. They just thought it was lame. And that was a behavior that I took for the most part through most of high school. Like I don't think I started drinking until senior year. I think it was the first time I went out and did
Was that
anything like
late among your
Yes,
circles?
yeah. Most of them were starting in like sophomore. But that's because I was skating full time. I was constantly like I never did anything other than skating at that time. Like it's actually hard to explain just how divided my life was into like skating all the way up through when I quit sponsors to then just kind of living a regular life. Nothing else mattered. So my social experience was a little bit different. Then I did do all that stuff later on when we would go on tour and we'd travel and we'd go, you'd go travel in an RV through towns and hang out with the locals, party with them, skate, and then go to the next town and stuff like that. But there was just less fear that you were going to get in trouble for doing something stupid because people weren't constantly wondering about what stupid things they could get in trouble for.
Yeah.
You were just living your life.
Yeah. It's like Gen Z rightly feels that there are higher risks in those behaviors. However, that's not to discount the fact that they're less interested in other people than themselves. Like, I've noticed this whole, I guess it's kind of a collective attitude that's arisen over recent years where people hate small talk. And they hate, like, very normal facets of just, like, our fabric of life. Things that used to be commonly accepted and enjoyed. Are not there's a disdain for it, and there's a disdain for any behavior that takes any interest in someone other than yourself.
I think it has a lot to do with skits online, and they satirize those types
so
of
cynical.
So I loved that part of like when I worked at gas stations. I loved the social contract of small talk in that environment. Mainly because there was like a guaranteed beginning time and a guaranteed end time. Meaning like both parties know when this conversation has dragged on too long. Sure. Whereas in the real world, that's not necessarily as easily discernible. But in general, anything you used to do that used to be some type of way that you connected with another human being is turned into cynical skits online.
Yeah.
Your any type of earnest human communication is then satirized from people who are terrified of being vulnerable in any way.
See, the antisocial pattern in Gen Z has such a complex web of explanations. It's almost too big to tackle and explain in one go. But I would say that's not to discount it as a huge problem, and I don't think that they should be praised for it. Another tweet I saw recently said, "Going to the club is such a disaster for Zoomers. None of them dance or smoke cigarettes. They just stand there and vape into their shirts and don't talk to anyone they didn't come with. It's giving middle school dance. One girl asked me for a cigarette because she asked a bunch of guys and none of them had any. She said, 'I think they're all gay.'" There's just a resistance to talking to adults. Gen Z still sees themselves as children, and they're afraid of talking to grown-ups.
It's only going to get worse too because millennials still have a hard time seeing themselves as adults because they constantly bemoan the fact that they're. It's like what happened.
And like millennials on the other side of the coin love drinking, right?
Do they still? Now, no.
We were
talking about like before the show about hating the idea of the millennial. I'll stay home. I'm too tired to go out. I always rolled my eyes at because it was the LOL so random. I'm so different from everybody else. He. Mm-hmm. Not really, because every other millennial seemed to be like that.
Thank you.
We're speaking in broad generalizations, of course.
Yeah, one of my favorite mutuals on Twitter, Inez Stepman, has made this her personal crusade. Like, I love that this is her thing now, but she's just constantly counter-signaling that exact attitude. The jokes that millennials make about canceling plans to take a nap and just generally being a self-involved person who goes to bed at 8 p.m., and scrolls for 5 hours.
I wonder if for millennials, I'm wondering if for millennials, like the divide or this disconnect and why they have a hard time feeling like adults is because a lot of prior generations' definition of like finally becoming adults was becoming parents and then owning a home. And since they were never able to own a home, somehow they felt like they were caught in this like cycle of consistent childhood, right? Like they never owned a home, therefore they were never the same type of adult that their parents were.
I don't know if I agree with that.
I mean, all the people that I know that are adults
that really seems like a reductive explanation. There's more to it.
Well, no, obviously I'm not saying that there's only one answer here, but I'm saying that a bunch of different things would have to come together and make millennials wonder why they don't feel like the adults their parents did at that age.
You mean Gen Z?
No, I'm talking about millennials because we were talking about millennials going to bed early and stuff like that. And I just wonder if the reason millennials never felt like they grew up, because they do feel like they were, you know, constantly in a state of consistent nostalgia. Like, I don't think of millennials as talking about being the grown-ups in the room. If anything, they want to be permanently children.
Yeah, I mean, I want to know what's behind this specific trend, though. Bragging about how much you sleep, being tired, bragging about canceling plans, and lying to your friends about it because you're lazy and tired, going to bed early. Why is there like a subculture around that?
The line.
What is wrong with these people?
I can answer the question about why they cancel plans. If you're doing a bunch of drugs and you agree to plans when you're in a good mood, and then your mood is completely changed when the plans come up, and then suddenly you're not in the mood anymore.
I've never had that.
You don't do drugs.
But people who don't do drugs talk about that all the time. I don't understand.
Then they're emotionally dysregulated.
It's
Same
so
as Justin
weird.
Bieber. Like,
and
yeah,
you will just be glad that you went.
Do it, yeah.
So be an adult and go. You need to leave the house.
There
sometimes.
was there was one time when we were like, Olivia's like, I don't want to go do anything. I'm like, let's go bowling. Let's go to like the arcade, or you know, it was like 10 p.m. Like, I understand why it's like 10 p.m. I'm like, let's just go do something. Clearly it was one of those times where it's like you got home from running errands at an odd time, meaning like it's too early to it's too early to stay in, but it's too late to want to go and make plans. I'm like, let's just go do something. You won't regret it. And then when we were done, she's like, thank you for getting me to leave the house. I'm like, yeah, we would have been miserable sitting at home for another 2 hours. Like, if we hadn't done that, we would have done something around, like we would have cleaned or done something around the house for the sake of not sitting around for the extra 2 hours.
The whole canceling plans culture is not just deeply inconsiderate of other people's time, but it's also just worse for you and your own self-interest and your own happiness.
I saw let me check something here. I literally just saw a tweet and reposted it the other day that is related to this at least a little bit. Let me see if I can find
people bragging about canceling plans.
It was it's like, does that show up here? Yeah, it was this one right here. I reposted this. It took me 13 years to realize the only cure to depression is to just leave the house at every single possible opportunity, no matter how badly you don't want to. An inelegant solution, but a solution nonetheless.
Yeah. Just do things that are uncomfortable.
Get out of the house.
This is the problem. I think this is the problem. That people in general, but especially the most recent adults being Gen Z, want everything to be so comfortable and just streamlined.
Yes. No, it is. It has to do with technology. Like,
is it that?
They don't even know how to use computers anymore because they're used to their phone, right?
It's just I try to talk to like people who are only slightly younger than me, and I'm like, what species are you?
Okay, so I was driving. This literally happened just as I was driving into work today. So I was driving into work today, and I had one of those moments where if you're a millennial and you've seen a certain movie, and you know all the trees that are all the logs that are tied to the bed of the truck, and you don't want them to come out and hit you in the back. Well, there was one of that, and then I got around it, and there was another truck in front of it. It was like a truck full of dirt and gravel, and I was looking at the back of the truck and the way that the bed of the truck was constructed, and I realized that because it's full size, it's a rig, I was like, I would have no clue how to open the rig of the, the back of this truck, because it's not just a single latch that you open and pull down. And I think what happens is society has become so streamlined now that anytime you have to do something that's even the slightest bit outside of your realm of understanding, you start to panic.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, it's not, okay. I want to use this term that, I don't remember the first place I heard it or who coined this phrase. I should find out where it came from. But this term called an inner citadel. Have you heard of it? Okay, so when someone builds an inner citadel, they are training themselves not to want something that they believe they can't have, or something they actually can't have. So if you are an amputee and you have one leg, it's like you're training yourself to believe like, oh yeah, having one leg is like better than having two legs anyway. Like I love having one leg. Like you two leg havers just don't know what you're missing out on. It's sort of, it can be useful in some situations to make life tolerable, but in most cases, you're actually having you're justifying a self-limiting belief. And it happens a lot with socialization. Like people are saying like, oh, like bars suck. Like I hate like going out and drinking. That sucks. Even though you're just telling yourself that because it makes you anxious to be around people. Yeah. And it shouldn't. And you need to expose yourself to those situations and get used to it. But you're protecting yourself from that experience and that encounter with people by telling yourself that you have some kind of like moral grandstanding objection to it.
You were the one who told me that you had to like get yourself out of your comfort zone at a specific point.
That's absolutely something that Gen Z needs to do because they are the most anxious adults alive today.
I went to like several movies alone like last summer and stuff like that, which is weird because I spend a lot of time alone. I skate alone all the time, but movies were not something that I ever did alone. I guess it was 2 summers ago now. And I found it to be quite an enjoyable experience, mainly because I go during the day. It was like on the weekends, go for like matinees. Not only was it cheaper, but also like no one was there.
I like doing that too.
But it was like doing that on my own was kind of that in a way.
There is nothing I love more. This has nothing to do with alcohol or even like talking to people, but you need to leave the house. Nothing I enjoy more lately than just going to a coffee shop and writing on paper. Like it's just such a normal tactile thing to do that's like slow moving and no one is trying to reach me. Yeah. It's great.
And like I always said, like from the moment we started working together, I was always shocked how like you would just like not bring your phone everywhere. Like that's not common amongst your generation.
Yeah. Or just like you can stand in line while you're waiting for something and not look at your phone. You can like sit in the TSA line and not look at your phone.
All right.
There's so many opportunities being missed.
All right. What would you like to see? Cringe or cute of the day?
Do we have 2 cringes or just the one
I have cringe and a special brain rot.
Oh, okay. We can do brain rot first,
okay,
and then cute, and then cringe.
Sure. All right. So I posted about this over the weekend because this is my new favorite thing in the world. TCL has turned their entire ad campaign into gooning. I'm not kidding you. A television company.
If you own a TCL, let's go on me and go on you. Let's go with my grandma. We the alpha, I'm a sigma, I'm a skibbity, I'm the king. Big 98 inches, whilst on BBC. TCL is the goon king, and you're on my Guna empire.
See, I want to know what the pitch meeting like this was.
I'm scared. Is this AI?
No, this is on the TCL like Instagram, and they've got multiple videos that are all about
doing this
gooning and edging
for real.
For real,
like
it's an actual ad campaign. This is on their
strategy.
This is their actual marketing strategy.
All right.
See, the thing is, though, guys, people were saying like this is disgusting, but the thing is brain rot has evolved so far that this word doesn't even mean necessarily
you forget what you're even saying.
Like most people don't understand what gooning and edging actually is supposed to mean because brain rot has made it impossible to know where actual terminology begins and brain rot, or where actual terminology ends and brain rot begins. I just love that this dude is going to use this on his demo reel. Like,
this is his biggest job so far. This was his breakout role.
I mean, I thought it was like Dave Chappelle for a half a second.
They could not get Dave Chappelle to do this. There is no amount of money.
So if you're looking to goon with your grandma, you can do so with a Hey, he said it, not me.
Well,
he said it, not me.
I hope that that's none of the people watching right now.
Yes.
We have respectable viewers.
The BBC joke was the best one there. That was just perfectly placed. All right. Olivia hated it because I kept playing the song.
I mean, it's not a bad song.
I was like, you know the gif
bad.
of Jay-Z going.
Yeah, I was like kind of
like, and Olivia's like she's like turn it off. I was like, by the third time I played it, she's like turn it off. So I had to post it on X by screen recording because it's not on YouTube anywhere. It's a vertical video. So yeah. All right. Let's do Q to the day, guys. Here we go. Let's do one today. This one's from Roni. It says Peter Picklebottom is having a rough day after fathering many picklebottoms in his 3 years of life. He finally got fixed. Long live PCC. Bye-bye Peter's bottom balloons.
Bye-bye Peter's
He
bottom
does look a little bit
balloons.
bummed.
Yeah, he's going to be fine. He's very cute, though.
All right. Let's do cringe of the day then. Here we go.
This is ordering Chipotle with a pointer finger.
With the pointer finger.
Like, I love how they're just doing it. They're just going along with it.
Okay, I have a question. Why this emoji?
What emoji?
The devil.
Because there's something devious about it. They probably think that this guy has some kind of disability and they're like trying not to get sued.
No, there's a phone there. They know that this dude is making content. They're like, please at least don't put it on my face.
Yeah.
I do think that there should be some type of rule that if some influencer tries to turn you into an unwitting member of accomplice to content, you should be allowed trial by combat.
There should be new laws and regulations about that, actually.
No, I think you should be allowed to challenge them to a fight legally.
Or you should at least be able to sue for a portion of the ad revenue just because you're in the video.
It's so unenforceable.
But actually, wasn't it Chipotle that people said if you pull out your phone and point it at them,
They'll give you the right
just
quantity.
give you like more food? You're
No,
literally terrifying.
They were saying that was the amount you were always supposed to get, and they were skimping on it unless they were being filmed.
Yeah.
So who's the bad guy in that one? Like, I want to know why he's got the devil horn emoji there. There's nothing, like, this is normally saved for some
being
type
mischievous, I guess.
of... Okay. All right.
You get the point.
Very clever. All right. Let's get started then.
Yeah, Snow White just had its premiere in LA over the weekend, and despite the sparkling photos you might see from after the fact, allegedly the vibes were off. It was getting kind of awkward between co-stars Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot behind the scenes. We'll get into it, but it was true. The rumors were true. This is an extremely scaled back premiere where they did not allow outside press onto the red carpet. It was only journalists hired by Disney who were allowed to be there and ask questions of the stars. So Variety described it here. When Rachel Zegler stepped onto the red carpet at the world premiere of Snow White on Saturday in Hollywood, the newest Disney princess was greeted by a smaller than usual assembly of photographers to capture her ball gown and diamonds. Zegler's co-star Gal Gadot, who plays the evil queen, soon followed, also smiling dutifully for the cameras.
I mean, it literally is her
in the
job.
center of the tented venue outside El Capitan Theater that hosted the pre-party celebration ahead of the screening. Instead of the usual lineup of dozens of red carpet reporters, the only interviewers they encountered were employed by Disney, such as Jodie Benson, who voiced Ariel in the 1989 Little Mermaid. Such was the scaled-back premiere of Snow White. So They also curated some moments for social media, including Rachel Zegler interacting with some little girls dressed up as Snow White in the audience. They, I'm sure, were paid actors as well.
Do all the dresses look like they've got creases, like they just came out of the box?
Straight from Spirit Halloween. It's cute, though.
This is exactly what she should be doing.
Yeah. I love that she's teaching them not to be saved by the prince. Those are the lessons that little girls need to learn these days.
Men aren't reliable.
Just teach them that a man is never going to save you.
Unless it's the man who directed the movie, or the man who runs the company that's producing it, or the man who runs the company that's distributing it.
You pointed out the irony here. All of these little girls are dressed up in the Snow White costume that Rachel Zegler complained about having to wear.
Yeah, I had this in the other. Hold on, I've got that here. So this was. This person says, "You like my dress? I like your dress. I'm sobbing because I hate stan culture more than
Like, you're not sobbing. You're not.
And
I don't believe you.
I remembered this. If I'm gonna stand there 18 hours a day in the dress of an iconic Disney princess, I deserve to be paid for every hour that it's streamed online.
If I'm gonna have to sit around in this ugly, stupid Snow White costume, I better be paid for it."
I feel like I'm picking on her a little bit here.
No, we are.
Here's the thing. My picking on her in this respect is mainly less due to her and more how much I really, really hate stans. But we're gonna get into that later. I really do hate stan culture.
Yeah, and we're seeing it crop up around this movie. They also released from the Walt Disney Studios account a promotional video of Rachel Zegler visiting the castle in Spain, where they inspired the design for the movie.
Hi everyone, we are outside the castle that the 1937 animated classic based Snow White's castle off of.
How would you know? You didn't watch it growing up. It scared you.
Yeah.
So exciting. We are here because we're shooting a music video for Waiting on a Wish, which is so cool. We only have one day to get it all done. And tonight we get a live performance. I'm so excited. It's gonna be a fun day. And so I'm looking at the lens.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's the
Looking
vibe.
at the lens.
Yeah, looking at the
Feeling stuck in the story they told.
Bro, straight out of a 1998 music video. If anybody ever watched any Jamiroquai video, that's what we're seeing here.
En español, a punto. There you go.
Ooh!
Everything the light touches.
No way. There's a little well set up. Crazy that this is real. It's a real operating well. There's water and tons of coins down there.
Disney could be building wells in Africa, but instead they're making capitalist crap like
Could
this.
be building wells in the
And many
Congo.
wishes, which makes me really happy.
Music.
So she's dreaming all alone, sharing secrets with the snow. Father told me long ago.
That was actually pretty impressive.
Yeah.
What nice catch.
It's a
Thank
cool
you.
idea.
Our director, Mark Webb, is going to be joining me, and I haven't seen him since we wrapped in June.
I don't know. That's a man. I can't believe a man is going to
Yeah.
help save the day.
I can't duet with you. You know
Yes,
you
you
can.
can,
No,
and
you
you've done it
can't.
many times. He can
Well,
also
it's
dance.
true. I tried to, like, it was the Zamboni.
Yeah.
The Zamboni was our thing.
The
yes.
dance that we did. I'm very grateful to the people of Spain. Muchas gracias a todas las personas de España. Gracias por su apoyo y su amor. Te quiero mucho, mucho, mucho. Bye! Hi,
I mean,
There
it
you have
rings
it.
together as false and fake, but it's not supposed to come across as real. It's Hollywood. Like, to the people that, you know, see past the veil, they understand that what they're watching is promotional material, and she doesn't come across as particularly any less or any more inauthentic than your average Hollywood celebrity.
Well, I think that these studios had a big lesson to learn from the strike season that I guess really it didn't sink in, because you don't need to send these actors into interviews to promote a movie at all.
There has to be a better way.
Barbie made over $1 billion with no interviews. None.
I mean, you could make the argument that stuff not based on original properties benefits from interviews, but based
Snow
on IP doesn't need.
Has IP.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
But you don't need to send them out to the wolves like that. Barbie didn't need Margot Robbie to go talk to someone at Variety about what Barbie represents for feminism. Like, nobody even cared about that part of it. That was the best part, actually, of the strikes, is that they weren't allowed to promote any of their work in the media. And it actually worked to their benefit in the long run. And Disney is opting to keep Rachel Zegler outside of public earshot, which is probably for the best.
How could they have memed this movie back into some type of success? Because remember, right now, the opening weekend domestic predictions are still sitting at 48 to 58 million. If you're wondering where that sits in the pecking order, it's closer to Dumbo, which is considered the biggest modern flop of the remake era. It's closer to Dumbo than it is to even The Little Mermaid, and way far off from the other such films, such as was it Cinderella or Beauty and the Beast. So what could they have done to meme this movie back into something successful?
I think that people who have made up their minds about not seeing it are not going to budge.
I think if they had done some type of meme campaign where Gal Gadot is mean to a bunch of people, something that turns Gal Gadot on her head, because she is known as being a very likable person, which is why people feel like it's very weird that she's playing the evil queen. Do something where she's being mean to people online. I would like that. So I was just watching the video the other day where John Cena's on his way back after turning heel. And his bald spot is gone. And I was like, bro went so evil, his hair grew back. Like, they would have to do something where, like, it can't involve Rachel Zegler. You can't meme her back into success. You can, however, meme other people involved in it. And I think that if they had done something with Gal Gadot, make her comically evil online, talk shit on, like, a bunch of stuff. Like, in pro wrestling, it's hard to tell where the line is when wrestlers beef back and forth on Twitter. You don't know what's real and what isn't a lot of the time. So have Gal Gadot, does she have a Twitter? If she did, just have her start saying crazy shit.
I want her to remake the Imagine video.
Yes!
But evil version.
That'd have been awesome.
Well, the song Imagine is already pretty
It's
evil,
already
in my opinion.
communist scum.
Yeah, just do that again. I don't know. Since you mentioned Gal Gadot, the rumor has it Gal Gadot is annoyed with Rachel Zegler and the drama that she has caused surrounding this film. They're also not friendly at all behind the scenes, according to inside sources.
To be fair, guys, in Hollywood, that's not necessarily rare. Like, even beyond just political differences, they're working a job together.
It's not that anyone expects them to be the best of friends, but it definitely seems like it's more awkward and tense between them than just normal colleague relationship. They don't like being around each other, and you can tell in their Oscars presentation, all of the photos that they're taking together. It does have an awkward vibe. A source tells people that Rachel Zegler has nothing in common with Gal Gadot, a mom of 4 kids. On top of that, their political views differ, adding to the tension.
Actually, that's what Rachel Zegler should have done. She should have made a catty video where she performs Imagine better than Gal Gadot.
I bet she could.
And snottily.
Yeah. Gal Gadot does have a song in the movie, so I don't know if she's like
auto-tune the musical.
I don't know if singing is her forte, but yeah, they have appeared at multiple events together, including D23 and the recent Academy Awards, where they took the stage to present Best Visual Effects category together. But Gal Gadot did not attend Snow White's European premiere in Spain. A source familiar with the situation said that Gal Gadot was never supposed to be in Spain and was instead doing press in New York.
That makes sense.
This isn't a stay away from me situation. They were at the Oscars together. They will also be together this weekend. They mean the LA premiere.
That makes sense to me. Like divide and conquer. You can get to more events if you're... Plus, actually, that's another thing that they would do in wrestling. Like, good guys and bad guys didn't hang out together outside of work because it destroyed the
Well,
it would destroy the allure.
they clearly also bring out the worst in each other. The two co-stars also have a huge age gap, which also makes it hard for them to relate to each other. Gal is annoyed by the movie drama. She enjoyed filming. She was fine with Rachel Zegler, but they're not friends. They have nothing in common. They did a job together, and that's it. According to a second source, Gal Gadot doesn't see eye to eye with Rachel Zegler when it comes to her comments about Snow White. Gal's attitude is that you don't criticize and cause drama for a project you signed on to do.
I mean,
she just doesn't get it.
That's not even true either, because Gal Gadot was right there co-signing the stuff Rachel Zegler was saying early on in the
So
before
don't
the movie
throw
even
her
started.
under the bus now.
Yeah.
I mean, what's done is done. The perception is that Rachel Zegler has been solely the problem. In reality, it's the both of them. But I think that because she's been in the industry longer, she just has more a sense of decorum and consideration for the business side of things.
I mean, that's something that should never go by the wayside. I mean, I brought that up to you today when I was showing you the article about, what was it? Revenge quitting.
Yeah.
Like the idea that you would just burn bridges just because you have no control over your own emotions because you're mentally a child, because you feel like you were wronged in some way. Like this also correlates here, which is that professionals should be a little bit of a blank slate. Like you should not know every woman feeling about what a professional feels about a specific project. Like you should be putting your best foot forward.
It also doesn't matter how you feel about the project. And you know what else? It doesn't matter how journalists feel about Snow White.
That's true.
The first reactions are in from early access to Snow White, and so far, so good, weirdly enough. All of these people who got early access to premieres of Snow White are saying it's like the best thing they've ever seen. And it just kind of seems like some funny business from Disney. Perhaps they're paying for positive reviews, or they're counting on specific journalists to speak praise of this movie that it doesn't deserve in order to quiet down all of the negativity that has surrounded it for years at this point. Variety's own film reporter, Katsi Stefan, praised Rachel Zegler as a shining supernova. Here's her full tweet. Beautifully embodying the graceful, gentle nature of the OG Disney princess. This is a visual feast with show-stopping new musical numbers. And
God,
of course,
I hated the language.
Dozens of enchanting animated animals. The screenplay wisely gives its heroine newfound depth through her fervent desire to become the leader her father believed she could be, and a love story that's sweet as apple pie.
I did see a tweet before the weekend that said props to Zegler for portraying a pacifist, anti-fascist Disney princess, and I almost threw up. And it's for that reason that Mary's going to have to bring me at knife point to this movie. I don't want an anti-fascist princess movie.
The new
I
version
hate
of
you.
the story isn't necessarily as politically on the nose as it sounds from certain people, but it's definitely not even recognizable from what it was in the animated classic. So they described it here a little bit as a synopsis. Snow White is forced into the forest after her stepmother, the evil queen, takes control of her parents' kingdom. Snow White meets the seven dwarfs, and together they come up with a plan to win her kingdom back. Andrew Burnap also stars in the film as Snow White's newly created love interest. So this is a movie about Snow White staging a political coup.
Yes.
That's lame. Little girls don't care about that.
No, they don't.
And they also completely just nerfed the prince. Like, they made him into a new character entirely that
I
is
would
hardly even
imagine.
relevant to the story.
I would, however, that women would be interested in a strong man staging a political coup for the
How
good of the
about
people.
we don't have a political coup and you just make the story
I'm just trying to help them.
what it always was?
There is a bunch of
Like,
tweets.
The dwarves, you can see The first love story in Snow White is when the dwarves fall in love with Snow White before she reunites with the prince again, you know?
Yeah.
But none of it had anything to do with retaking her kingdom and running for president. It has nothing to do with that. Literally, this is the Hillary Clintonified version of Snow White. I mean, and it just sounds boring as all hell.
Wish was the same way.
Yeah.
Wish was the same
Wish
way.
was honestly even worse from the sound of it. But we have another one from Matt DeGroot at Crooked Media. Despite becoming an internet punching bag, Disney's remake of Snow White is actually mostly successful. Rachel Zegler, it's like so easy to say that when like it hasn't even entered the box office yet. Rachel Zegler is an absolute star. Most of the new songs are catchy and beautifully performed, and the visual palette is sumptuous and vibrant.
Oh,
Gal
here it is.
Gadot had beautiful gowns.
Here it is
Bonus
right under
points
there.
awarded for Snow White herself being a non-violent anti-fascist hero.
Can I like hate something? Is there a hate button?
I thought Elon was going to introduce dislike buttons, but that never became a thing.
No. Then somebody says under that, lol, we'll see the box office and then decide. And he says box office doesn't mean anything for how good a movie is, but okay. That's called copium, my friend.
Well, it does determine the success of a movie. We Heart Physical Media said, not a fan of Zegler or Gal Gadot, but man, this ended up being so good. I think this one is going to surprise a lot of people and do numbers. It's in my top 5 of Disney live action remakes.
Okay, here's the thing. If it's going to do numbers, it's going to have to do numbers against a poor opening weekend box office. Like, it's like there's nothing in those numbers right now that indicate that it's going to be a major success.
It's going to have really strong comeback through word of mouth.
Correct.
And people that you know in real life.
More than just word of mouth, because word of mouth will get some people, but a lot of people who are already having an aversion to it.
Well, no, it's like online, all you're going to see is the negativity, and then in real life, all you're going to hear about it is apathy.
Correct.
Or people who actually didn't even know that there was a Snow White coming out in theaters. Like, still, I talk to normies about this stuff. They have no idea that there is a Snow White movie coming out this week. They have no clue.
This was back in February.
Felix Wood said, kinda insane that this movie was the internet's punching bag for like 2 years, yet most people who have seen it say it's one of the best remakes. And then another from Bridgerton on Twitter, Rachel Zegler was born to play a princess. Her voice is unreal. Her screen presence is unmatched. This Snow White is going to be next level.
I can't comment on the music because I'm not, I don't know anything about Disney music in the past other than like The Lion King. But I do know that she can sing and that if she spends a lot of time singing in this movie, it will help it out tremendously.
Yeah, I just don't like that it's not going to sound like the songs from the previous movie at all.
Correct.
Because the previous voice actress was
I can't
actually
get over
like an opera singer.
Shining Supernova.
Yeah, could you like be more hyperbolic?
And then some people rightly pointed out that a lot of this feels like shill material because remember, guys, the embargo does not get lifted on this movie until the 19th, the day before the first screenings. And one of the easiest things to use as an indicator as to whether a theater or whether a studio actually has faith in a movie is how early they lift the embargo on a movie. If the embargo is lifted early on, it means that they have faith that the reviews and the word of mouth will be so positive that it will actually bolster people to come out early and show up for the opening weekend, not just get good weekend showing second after the word of mouth from the opening weekend. So Nina Infinity says Variety paid reviews are coming in raving that Snow White and Rachel Zegler are amazing. Who even trusts these people anymore? I'm waiting for normie reviews. And then Jonas J. Campbell says, for many reviewers that I'm aware of, the social media embargo is 2 days away and the full embargo on the 19th. So you get a social media embargo, which allows you to offer first thoughts and then your full reviews on the 19th. I do not take a review until I see what Jeremy Johns has to say about it.
So they're trying to keep it hush-hush until the very last minute, basically.
I liked, and then this person says, I've been defending this girl for the last 5 years. I love winning. This is not winning quite yet. I will concede if the movie ends up making a ton of money, I will concede you winning. But SHILL responses saying that this movie is great because they got early access to it is not the same thing as winning. I refuse your premise. And then this one from Felix Wood, hashtag Free Palestine. I wonder, it'd be funny if they were like, I hate this movie and Gal Gadot's, and Rachel Zegler sucks. No, they say kind of insane that this movie, you said this one already, right? Was the internet's punching bag? Yes. I don't know if I buy that it's going to be one of their best remakes.
My prediction actually is that when we see the performance of the live action Lilo and Stitch movie, it will blow this out of the water.
Everybody knows that that's the movie that's going to make $1 billion this year.
And that's not even a Disney princess.
No.
That's just a beloved character. And from the reactions to the trailer so far, people love it. So it's just, this doesn't have as much of a chance.
Would you, okay, so, I don't really buy these reactions as a good gauge as to whether the movie's going to do well or not. Would you change your mind on that? Do you think if reviews start coming in, even with the late embargo, and those reviews are generally good, do you think that helps this movie, or do you think it's too late?
People don't even listen to reviews, you know?
I mean, I don't know.
Normal people do not.
I'm saying word of mouth. If word of mouth is good,
if you heard from your friend that it's a good movie, that's way different than critics on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's not necessarily even necessarily like people watch YouTube reviews. I mean, Jeremy Johns has like 2 million subscribers and gets millions of views on all of his videos, or hundreds of thousands.
I feel like people watch those reviews to watch the reviews, not to decide whether to see a movie.
But I'm saying if even a percentage of that. So if a guy gets 500,000 views on a video, and that's the low end, right? And you say even 10% of those are people that are looking for an honest review before going to see something, that's a lot of people. Like, I don't know. I kind of tend to lean towards your premise that people watch them because it's a form of content.
Yeah.
Like most people who watch our reviews that's why I always laugh at even needing to do spoiler reviews. You have to do it because it's fair, but most of the time I imagine they're not watching it because they're actually waiting for our opinion to go see it or not. People use that sometimes, but I don't feel like most of the time that's the case. Chat, let us know. Do you actually care about using, like when we used to review things more regularly, did you use that as like a gauge on whether to go see something or not? Most of the people in our audience, at least specifically, say I'm not going to see this, so I'll just watch the review instead.
Yeah, I'm guessing most of you in the chat are not making plans to see Snow White this week. You can be curious about how other people reacted to it, but not have any intention of going to judge for yourself. And you don't want to give Disney money in the process. I get that. Not worth it.
I did see the Quartering had a post that said, like, if you go see the new Snow White movie, you're a terrible person.
What?
Yeah.
Was he joking?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I rolled my eyes at the hyperbole.
That's a little insane.
That is, I mean, if you take the perspective of a lot of people on the right who believe that supporting any company like this is somehow makes you complicit in evil.
It's like the people with the watermelon emoji in their username who are like, girl, you went to Starbucks. What happened to the boycott? Yeah. Like, I am not part of your movement, your agenda. Leave me alone. I am actually looking forward to watching Snow White because I love hate watching anyway. So
in the chat,
it's going to be fun.
Yeah. In the chat, Zen Wolf Bear says, movies are too expensive to not do your research. I don't watch reviews prior to the movie so as to avoid spoilers. I watch after the way I would... I watch them after the way I would review a book. So how do you do your research if you don't watch the reviews? You just trailers and...
I guess.
Press. I mean, it is expensive. It's super expensive to go to the movies today. That's why I've been enjoying going to Tuesday night movies where the tickets are $7.
Well, if going to see Snow White makes me a terrible, evil monster, I guess that's just who I am. I have to accept that about myself. Let's read some super chats.
Do it.
Kenneth Hart said, have you heard anything about Sony doing an authentic to the book Starship Troopers? Any thoughts? Read the source material.
Yeah, I saw that they were talking about that. Look, I've never read the book. I've only seen the movie. I know they said Neil Blomkamp is going to possibly direct it, and he's got a pretty good track record. I can't say that I care one way
You
or the other.
mentioned it to me on Friday.
I don't.
Laughing about the idea that you even would care.
I just
found that funny.
I'm not one of the every few months there I know that there's a big super chat there. Every few months on X, self-important political analysts debate Star Trek troopers, and I want to throw my phone out a window. I don't care. I don't care about whether it's accurate. I don't care about what it says about fascism. I don't care about any of that. I do know that Dina Meyer is pretty awesome, so you should go support her work, and that, I don't care. Do you care? Do you care?
I'm glad that
You
we
have
got
strong
that
feelings.
rant out of the way, but we do have a huge super chat from CR Vox for I can see doing better than expected because normies don't have the same connection to Snow White like they do the big four of the 90s. It would otherwise be a standard boss girl story if Zegler hadn't been such an insufferable person for the last 2 years. That was something that they brought up in projections for the box office, is that millennials don't care about Snow White the way that they care about Jasmine or Ariel or any of the more recent ones that they've made. It's because of the fact that this came out in the 30s.
Yeah, and
it's not as relevant to the millennials.
I don't know, because Once Upon a Time was very popular and went on for 9 seasons, and that's a relevant character to that show. But again, that's
still not as big of a deal culturally as the animated Little Mermaid.
Yes.
And even that live action remake didn't do that well. No Control said Mary has Irish blood in jars.
Is that true?
That is not true.
Let's do one more.
I promise you.
We're
Pop
almost
Culture
getting close
Junkie.
to a second Crisis Party, guys.
Pop Culture Junkie said, my Disney source says Snow White premiere was the most locked up, bubble-wrapped, cast with extras, staged event in movie history. Indistinguishable from a movie premiere scene in an actual movie.
I mean, it just proves to you the level of power that the company has to try and literally manufacture success through sheer will.
Yeah. It's, I believe, all Disney hired journalists, and then they cast extras to be in the audience, and they cast those little girls to dress up in the costumes.
I saw one person
the whole
said,
thing was like a North Korean movie premiere.
Somebody said the kids would be more excited if they actually cared, but none of them looked like they cared.
It would be like Kim Jong-un premiering a movie about himself in Pyongyang, and everyone being so excited at the premiere, and the little boys dressed up as Kim Jong-un in the audience, and he's taking pictures with them and saying he loves their suits.
All right, let's move on.
Kanye has just declared war on his ex-wife, Kim Kardashian, and you won't believe the reason why. He has not yet backed down from his support for Diddy, who is still currently behind bars and awaiting trial for sex trafficking. He was on a Twitter rampage weeks ago at this point that mostly was focused on Diddy and defending Diddy, saying that Diddy's innocent, that he was wrongly jailed and doesn't deserve to be charged with any of these crimes. And he was almost implying that Diddy's arrest was an example of racial prejudice. I don't think that he really explained his thought process behind any of that, or if he has a thought process behind that at all.
I have a question.
But he is now basically being the only person willing to defend Diddy. And I don't know if you even want Kanye to be the person publicly defending you at that point.
Do you think this picture from TMZ was specifically chosen as the first picture in the carousel of celebrity circle for Diddy?
Well, does TMZ have TDS?
I would say that at times there is definitely a bias.
It's a picture of Diddy with Trump if you're listening rather than
not
watching.
as bad as other outlets, but there's definitely people there that really dislike him.
I don't know how Harvey Levin feels about Trump, but they do cover politics pretty often. But yeah, here's the 411. So not only is Kanye West publicly defending Diddy, he is also deciding to release a song with Diddy. I don't know how that's logistically possible when he is still in jail, unless you're using AI or you're recording through the phone intercom system.
They'll do that. Rappers have done that.
But that's what they're doing.
Yep.
I don't know why Kanye's defending Diddy. I don't know why Diddy wants Kanye to defend him, because he knows that Kanye is also massively controversial, maybe even more controversial. But they are now unlikely friends. They have found a friend in each other. And they are releasing a song titled Lonely Roads Still Go to Sunshine. And this is a Kanye West song featuring Puff Daddy, also featuring his son, King Combs, also featuring Kanye West's daughter, Northwest, who is 12 years old, mind you, and also an unknown artist under Yeezy named Jasmine Williams, who I've never heard of.
Should have named his name should be Catacombs.
Have you heard of Jasmine
No.
Williams? I don't know who that person is. They've posted the song already. It's already released. And I looked through some of the lyrics, and they were pretty corny. But this was one line from Diddy. I think that this is like maybe a phone call between them.
Probably.
I just want to thank you so much for taking care of my kids. Nobody reach out to me. Nobody call me. You know what I'm saying? That meant so much that you reached out to them and took them under your wing while I'm in this MFer. He means jail.
Yes.
So I guess Kanye is having some kind of contact with Diddy's children, even though they're adults, you know. And then there's some lines from Diddy's son. Money, power, respect, still the key to life. Against the darkness, I can see the light. God sending signs, hope I read it right. This is just so bad.
The point of this is, though, is that he wants to use North's name, and Kim is not having it.
Yeah, this is Northwest on the bridge, and then she has a chorus with Jasmine Williams. This was from a recent visit that North had with her dad after not seeing him for weeks. They went to the studio and recorded this. Lonely Roads kicks off with a voice that sounds like Diddy's, telling Ye he appreciates him taking care of his kids and reaching out because no one else has in recent months. West responds by saying that Diddy raised him, even when the two didn't know each other, and the voice on the other end of the call says he's feeling a lot of love. Ye's daughter North raps, "When you see me shining, then you see the light," and other lines. Christian Combs also has a verse, and Jasmine Williams. Multiple sources familiar with the situation say this track nearly didn't come out because Kim Kardashian, Northwest's mother, tried to get Ye not to release the song. North went to visit her dad at the studio recently, the first time that he has seen any of his kids in weeks, and he had her record vocals he put on the song with Diddy. Sources claim that he told her he would release in his upcoming Sunday service. This is shortly after he announced that he's bringing back Sunday service. And then before releasing the song, he posted a screenshot of text messages between himself and Kim. This was about Kim discovering that this happened for the first time and being imaginably livid about it. When Kim found out, we're told that she sent out legal letters demanding a cease and desist, an emergency hearing with a mediator and a judge, which sources say Kanye did not join and was held. Sources claim Kanye promised not to drop the song, but did anyway. Kim doesn't want North involved in her dad's recent behavior or any of the drama surrounding Diddy, who is facing federal sex trafficking charges. This is the most reasonable parenting decision that Kim Kardashian has ever made, to my knowledge. She has called everyone she could to keep the song from coming out, to no avail. In this text screenshot, you can see they're in a dispute about this. Kanye says, "I am never speaking with you again," to Kim. Kim says, "I asked you at the time if I can trademark her name," trademark North's name. "You said yes. When she's 18, it goes to her. So stop. I sent paperwork over so she wouldn't be in the Diddy song to protect her. One person has to trademark. We agreed when they were born, I would get all of our kids' names and trademarks so no one else would take them. He responded, amend it or I am going to war, and neither of us will recover from the public fallout. You're going to have to kill me. Okay, drama queen.
Yeah.
You're talking like you're... I mean, really, what you're saying is stuff that sounds cool when you post it in the screenshot on Twitter.
Yes.
You're posting this for attention, and no one feels bad for you because you objectively put your daughter in a compromising situation. There's no reason why your child should be in any way associated with any of your rapper friends, let alone the ones who are charged with actually assaulting children and filming it and doing God knows whatever debauched things behind closed doors. There is no reason why your child should be anywhere in the same conversation as Diddy.
Yeah.
It's just insane how self-absorbed he is, that he doesn't understand Kim's perspective on this. Not saying that she's like mom of the year on every single thing. I've criticized her a lot because she does expose North to social media when she shouldn't.
Yeah.
She exposes her to a lot of adult celebrities that are not kid-friendly at
Though,
all.
to be
Like putting
fair,
her on a play date with Ice Spice.
That was weird, but to be fair, like in the grand scheme of things, if we have to choose who's the worst parent in this case, I suppose exposing North to being in the same conversation as somebody up for sex trafficking charges is arguably way worse than, you know, the weird stuff with Ice Spice.
Than just
Though,
like clout chasing.
Even that stuff didn't necessarily ring as weird, just sad corporate friendship stuff where it's like Ice Spice's manager called her manager and they're like, how can we use each other for clout?
Well, regardless,
which is awful too, but
what you're
not the
seeing
same.
are two people both, they're whoring out their daughter for fame.
Yeah.
Their daughter who is not even like a fully, you know, conscious adult yet.
And they're born into this world, and it's creating a world where they will never be able to live in anything else because they've been so publicized.
Yeah, I don't understand how you can be defending his behavior anymore. Like, this is just beyond the pale. Like, is he just doing this for attention and he knows that Diddy is guilty?
I mean, part of it's just like that desire to always be contrarian to whatever the current zeitgeist is for him.
Yeah, is it really just that? Like, is he gonna be, you know, like,
I mean,
pro Epstein now? Like what?
I mean, don't a lot of, like, isn't this kind of like how people felt when Candace Owens started covering Harvey Weinstein recently?
Yeah, but I think there's more of a listening ear for that type of conversation.
I'm just saying, like,
now that Me Too has been reconsidered.
There is a certain type of personality that sometimes right, sometimes wrong, will push back against whatever is being considered the dominant narrative, just because for some it's just to be contrarian. For others, it might just simply be because they think that there are avenues of the discussion that have been left unexplored that they feel that they can shed light on. Some people will have honest intentions. Some people will have evil intentions. Some people may not even think that deeply about it.
It is just a sad world that we live in where Kim Kardashian becomes the voice of reason and maturity, you know?
Yeah. All right. Well, I don't know if we'll ever see necessarily Mom of the Year Kim Kardashian, but it does feel like whenever the topic of the kids comes up, she seems to have the more rational perspective. Although it is funny to think about just the gap between like what the average everyday person will experience and her when they're
like,
talking about trademarking.
We agreed that we would trademark our kids'
names. Yeah.
you
like,
know,
like that's just so far outside
yeah.
of the normal person's lived experience.
I know,
that it's
yeah.
ridiculous.
But still
yeah.
a valid concern, and it's really actually intelligent that they expected the necessity for such a thing.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, Kim knows very well early on when one video or one thing gets put out that can define your career for an extended period of time, one must be careful with it.
Being a product of a momager herself, she understands on a very deep level.
Arguably a worse momager.
Yeah, Kris Jenner is like an even more evil version of the momager.
Remember,
than
she helped
Kim.
distribute that tape.
Exactly. That was like something they agreed upon beforehand. It was completely a planned psyop that people believed for years. Anyway, Kim Kardashian is proving that in the future, Men are replaceable and completely unnecessary. In a new steamy photo shoot for Perfect magazine, she is posing in suggestive, intimate ways with her Optimus Tesla robot once again. Only a few months ago, she got her Optimus and started posting it all over Instagram, making little heart hands with it, sitting in its lap, going on date night. She has a robot boyfriend. She has the hots for a robot.
What did I say before this?
There they are,
segment
cuddling on the beach.
I said before this segment started, before we went live today, I said she fashions herself an artist who is making some type of social commentary about technofuturism and the disposability of men.
Yeah.
And in her inner circle, she is lauded, I am sure, as being a very, very intelligent woman.
Show the cover.
Yeah. The magazine cover. It's this one here.
This was the concept behind the whole thing. She's living in luxury with her robot man.
I mean, I find the commentary on robotics and stuff to be funny. I find the idea that her being supportive of Tesla makes her a Nazi to be absolutely insane.
Well, we haven't even gotten there
Yeah.
yet, but some people were very upset to
Yes,
see
they were.
Kim Kardashian inadvertently promoting a Tesla product because it benefits Elon Musk.
Well, there's this this carousel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there she is with her Cybertruck and everything. She's been driving a Cybertruck since they first came out. She's obsessed with them. It's her aesthetic to a T, even if she doesn't care for Elon Musk. This is completely her thing. But yeah, this is what she's done with her brand.
You
She
just know
wants a
that-
robot husband because Kanye is just too difficult to deal with.
Well,
It's too
and,
unpredictable.
As we've discussed before, if any group of people would show you to believe that men are disposable, it's the Kardashians, given that they don't even kind of like how rich executives and CEOs would kind of or Hollywood men would get divorced every so often and remarry. They're basically treat men like leases. They just lease the men and then send them off into the wild.
I'm seeing a lot of people reposting the headline, "Women will be having more sex with robots than men by 2025."
I remember that.
Well, here we are. It's 2025, and I wouldn't say we're there yet, but Kim Kardashian is trying to get us one step closer. Here were some of the comments. "Timing is everything. This was terrible timing and insensitive from a longtime fan, but expected more given your stance and the great reform work you do."
Okay, remember that when somebody says I usually agree with you, but this ain't it. Sincerely a fan. That's a bludgeon.
It's always as a fan.
As a fan, it's a bludgeon. It's like the person who says big yikes, or the person who says this ain't it. If their whole first impression is to tell you how much they normally like you, it's a social tool used to get
Don't
you
you
to
want me to
change your
still
behavior.
like you?
It's actually one of the reasons I think that we have evolved to become so contrarian and so unteachable in a lot of ways. Like, we won't change it. We dig our heels in because it's very hard to discern between honest critique and somebody who just wants to get you to change your opinion because you have one thing that they disagree with you on. It's a byproduct of the internet making us closer to people we'll never meet in the world than the people we actually know. The yikes, I don't know if this is a good idea, is probably going to mean more when it comes from somebody you know. And even then, a lot of people in this day and age are like, look, I am who I am. I'm not going to change.
Well, they're taking a parental tone
Yeah.
that's like, "I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed, Kim."
I wonder if the robot talks like this.
I hope not.
Alpha
That's
5.
awful.
It's Alpha 5 from, what do you call it? From Power Rangers.
Oh, yeah. I
Oh,
remember
goodness,
that.
Zordon.
Awful. Another comment said, "Kim is so weird. This is a clear message about where she and that family stands.
What?
I
Okay.
hope people never forget this shit."
What do you mean it's a
And
clear...
they continued.
It's a clear... What does that mean? It's
This
not
is
clear.
the further explanation. "Musk is over here trying to cut Medicaid and saying you don't deserve any benefits for the tax money you've been paying on your paycheck. And here this effing bitch goes with one of his robots. Stop wearing Skims and stop watching their effing show. These people hate y'all." A
Wait.
reply said, the fact that you thought the Kardashians stood anywhere else, it's really nothing for us to remember. We knew. And then this person replied, I have never supported this white woman. I don't have to clap you MFers in my mentions.
She's, yeah. No, just none
So
of
this
that.
is a sign, according to this person on Twitter, that the Kardashian family is worthy of boycott because they are supporting Elon Musk tacitly.
And is
by
the
owning
idea
Tesla
that
products.
Elon Musk trying to find government wasteful spending is akin to us cutting Medicare and Medicaid?
I don't think that was ever floated, but I haven't paid close attention like you do.
They've done a very good job of psyoping the public into everybody watched the video last week where Obama was launching his own version of Doge with Joe Biden in charge, saying we have too much wasteful government spending. But Musk derangement syndrome is a real thing, and we're not even talking about Mary's Musk derangement syndrome. We're talking about corpo approved Musk derangement syndrome. But one of the number one ways that they've fearmongered against Republicans for years is they're coming for your Social Security and they're coming for your Medicaid, despite the fact that that's like those entitled. That's like the number one and number two way that our why we're in the debt that we are. The black budget pales in comparison to what we spend on Medicare or on Medicaid and on Social Security. But I'm not looking for any of these people to give me rational thoughts, nor does any of that explain to me why he's a Nazi.
Right.
Those are incongruous.
They're calling her KK Kardashian. Get it? Kim KKK.
Look, me and Mary...
Frenzied fans dub Kim Kardashian a Nazi for posing with a Cybertruck.
Me and Mary both have a healthy skepticism of Elon Musk, and I think that's a perfectly reasonable thing to have is a certain level of skepticism. But what this is the hate boner version of stan culture, where instead of loving everything a person does, you hate everything a person does, which is equally as cringy.
More comments. What's next? The salute. Yeah. So they're expecting Kim Kardashian to start Sieg Heiling any minute now. Cybertrucks do have more rights than women these days. That's something that actually came from someone's deranged mind.
Somebody else.
Oh, you're in the cult. Kim KK Kardashian strikes again. Nazi alert, Nazi alert. Now Kim Ye makes sense.
Somebody else who had a strong opinion on this was known philosopher and intelligent woman Mia Khalifa, who took issue
she added in, she piled on. Mia Khalifa said, Kim Kardashian is a Nazi bird-brained billionaire, and if she ever read this, she'd probably smile at being called a billionaire and ignore the rest because she's a bird.
I want to remind everyone that they've turned billionaire into an other, and it's being used as a way to ramp up and justify violence. If you think I'm being hyperbolic, I'm not. They have turned that term into something where the reason Luigi Mangione exists is because they've turned billionaire into a weapon, a slur. And the sad fact is, much to Bill Burr's chagrin, which he'll probably have to worry about one day, is that it doesn't matter if you're actually a billionaire. The problem is he worked for billionaires. The guy that got killed, the UHC guy. He wasn't a billionaire. He was a dude who was worth barely more than Bill Burr. Yet Bill Burr is like, yeah, go ahead.
Right.
And justified violence. That's insane.
And he's allowed to say that on public forums.
And it's not like Mia Khalifa is hurting for money. I'm sure that her being, I'm guessing, a millionaire is perfectly fine as long as you're not a billionaire with a B. Just like Bernie Sanders. Remember? It was the millionaires and the billionaires. But then once he became a millionaire, it was suddenly just the billionaires. These people are the have-nots. And they're the haves and the have-nots, because a lot of them have plenty, who egg on the have-nots to do awful things because they're evil and they're radicalized.
Yeah, not that I feel strongly about defending Kim Kardashian's honor or anything, right? It's not like she's some kind of paragon of virtue.
No, that's not. But the thing is like
they're accusing her of shit that she didn't even do.
Talked plenty about like the idea, like there's plenty that you can criticize people about without stuff that's not real or fake. Then why bother?
Yeah.
But that's because this is the easiest narrative to parrot. It's like I saw the thing the other day.
This is probably why Kim Kardashian is never going to listen to constructive criticism about anything she does, because she's just going to place it all in the same bucket.
And for the people that don't like her, you're throwing the baby out with the bathwater because she's done plenty for prison reform. They love getting people out of prison.
Well, I don't, but
I'm saying no.
if they love that, that's cool.
But I'm saying no. I'm saying not Kim Kardashian. I'm saying the people that are criticizing her
Yes.
also don't think that most people should be in prison unless you're probably straight white men. They probably love it when straight white men go to prison. But in general, they're very critical of the prison system. Look, there's plenty to criticize about for-profit prisons, but there is a difference between prison reform to get out people who were nonviolent offenders that sold weed 20 years ago, and then the people that are just saying that we should just open the prisons. If you think I'm kidding, I'm not. There are plenty of people who don't believe in modern prisons in general. And they're just a couple of degrees to the farther left than these people, but they're all in the same boat.
Another one said, "This is Marie Antoinette vibes mixed with Ava Braun."
The hyperbole will never end. It's like when you see those pictures, when they post the pictures of the white family and they say this is giving Nazi vibes.
I've heard it all.
Yeah.
I've truly heard it all.
It's all very, very depressing and sad that all of these people are this radicalized.
I don't like the aesthetic of the photo shoot that she did for my own reasons, which I think are coherent. I don't like that she is sexualizing this robot, that she is normalizing the idea or the appeal of having an intimate relationship with an inanimate object.
Yeah.
And that's supposed to be some kind of new sexy status symbol.
Yeah.
I find that incredibly disturbing. It's one step closer to a transhumanist future.
I was going to ask if it was more the transhumanism of it.
Yeah, as you fall in love with this humanoid form, you also want to be like it, and you want to enhance your human form into something more akin to the robot. And something about just the natural human form is seen as flawed and in need of technology to perfect it.
All of that is
death can be cheated. All of these ideas are kind of wrapped up into this stupid artsy fartsy packaging that's on a magazine cover for now. But it is only a matter of time before you do see this thing in real life, maybe accompanying people in public spaces, and you're going to be expected to keep your mouth shut in the name of etiquette and civility. I don't want to live in that world.
Your critique is far more nuanced and reasoned, but far less clickable on the internet, where identity politics tend to be the things that get you the easiest engagement. Now, I'm not saying that these people were doing it necessarily because of engagement. I think most of them are true believers. I do, but it's just probably not as interesting to the person who's not politically radicalized.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
She's just a billionaire Nazi, I guess.
I guess so.
Let's
That's what
finish up these super chats.
For legal purposes, this is a joke. We are not
Yes.
calling Kim Kardashian a Nazi.
We are not. Do not sue me, please. Weary Traveler said, Mary must be a Neil Young fan since she's a cinnamon girl. I don't get the reference unless you're talking about the Lana Del Rey song. So, no. Shane H. Wilder, oh no, this one was about the hobbies issue. I DM'd you a few of the posts on X, Brett. Might be up your alley, Mary, as you have talked on this topic in the past. Maybe we could talk about it tomorrow.
Yeah,
if we have
I'll send it to you.
some interest in this debate. Eazy-E said, to be fair, booze isn't cheap for young people these days. The state and federal taxes on hooch aren't nothing, and we know Gen Z can't get work or keep jobs. The incentive is towards free dopamine.
Yeah. It's like, I wonder how many people, can you read it again? Sorry, can you read it one more time?
The whole thing?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, it's basically just that Gen Z is priced out of alcohol. Yeah. The economy prices Gen Z out of buying
State and federal taxes on hooch aren't nothing, and we know that Gen Z can't get work or keep jobs. I mean, like, do we know that they can't get work or keep jobs? Like,
Thank you.
like that's a broad generalization, I guess. But
A lot of it is an unwillingness.
yeah,
But I think that when they do get work, there's less upward mobility in those jobs. And also, because of inflation, they're not saving as much actual value in the money they earn.
yeah, I don't know.
So maybe there is another aspect to it that's just, it's unsustainable financially.
Look, drinking, like I don't know how many people who start drinking find drinking alone to be fun from the outset. Like, usually you end up drinking alone because you've started drinking so much that your amount of drinking has surpassed the amount you would normally do in social settings, right? Now, I'm not talking about like you come home from work and you have a finger of whiskey or something like that. I'm talking about like somebody who drinks regularly every night by themselves. Like, I just don't know if I buy that Gen Z, as isolated as they are, would ever get into drinking, even if it was cheaper.
Yeah, if it were a more accessible thing for them to do financially, they still wouldn't have much interest in it because of all the other reasons we talked about.
I was going to say they can't drive while drinking, but they're not driving anyways.
There's that too. They're getting their licenses later. Everything is later.
There was
We have a 20 real quick. Painful said, what W.M. Gibson predicted cyber affection in the book Idoru? I don't know how to say that. Never heard of it though.
But back to what you said, like when I was at the pharmacy the other day. Actually, you know what? I can't tell that story. It's not about
Why?
me. I can't tell that story. Never mind.
Oh,
It's not about me.
Never mind then. Deep South EDC said, y'all hear they are making Young Guns 3. What are they going to call it? Old Guns? The second one was already a flashback of the old man telling a story. I did not hear about that.
What? But would they could still make Naked Gun even though there's no naked people in it?
Didn't they remake that?
No,
Or-
they're making another Naked Gun, I think, right?
Oh.
Am I misremembering that
they-
because the actor died? I might be misremembering.
I thought they remade it. I don't know. Weary Traveler said the remake isn't marketed toward little girls. It's for women in their 30s whose whole personality is online activism.
See, but the thing is like then people online were arguing like this movie isn't for adults, it's for kids. Therefore, you can't criticize it.
Well, it's for kids when it needs to be for the argument's sake, and it's for the millennials when it needs to be for the argument's sake.
Schrodinger's
Regardless of what you're saying.
Snow White.
Yeah, but in reality, who is it really for? It's probably for millennial moms.
Yes.
That's what it's for.
Well, I mean, that's the sweet spot is that it's for the millennial moms that can bring their kids.
So really, it's a secret third thing that you didn't consider yet. Shane H. Wilder said, sumptuous and vibrant visuals, press X to doubt. Yeah, they're just gaslighting us at this point. We've all seen the trailer. We've all seen the clips that they've put out so far, the principal photography. It looks like trash. I mean, it looks like they just took the raw footage and they were like, we're not going to color grade this.
No,
like, we're just not going to
I think the opposite.
do anything to
it would look gray. It would look gray otherwise. It looks like they're like mud. Mud brown is the color scheme we're going for everything.
It's just depressing looking. Omega Red Fan said, in that sneak peek video, Rachel looked like she was practicing her Make-A-Wish campaign. Cena reference?
Yeah. I wonder if John Cena has officially stopped doing the Make-A-Wishes now that he's a bad guy. I still think they should do that
That would
skit
be a loss.
where he goes
the
in there and
world.
makes fun of the kids.
I mean, I guess they would like that. I don't know. Red Snow said, having a lazy day, almost forgot to super chat.
Well,
I'm
thank
glad
you.
remembered. Thank you. Sketch Therapy said, bad review equals content. Good review equals I'll spend time does not equal. Oh, good review equals I'll spend, and then time does not equal money.
I like the
Yeah.
Greg Owen comment about why good reviews are so much more dangerous than bad reviews. Because when you give a bad review, if you give a bad review, right, and you hated this movie, and another person went and saw the movie and they liked it, they're like, oh, I guess we just disagree. That's fine, whatever. But if you give a good review and then somebody goes and sees the movie and doesn't like it, well, now you have convinced them to part with their time and their hard-earned money to go see something.
If you actually earnestly blame someone on the internet for making you spend your money as an adult,
yes, you're a child.
I mean, you must mentally just think of yourself as a child. You actually were the one who got up, got in your car, put your keys in the ignition, took your money all the way to the movie theater, gave it to them, and then you're gonna leave and think it was someone else's fault?
I do give a lot of TV show recommendations, but even then, what I try to tell people is like, okay, so if you've watched our reviews or you've read my comments on X where I talk a lot about stuff that I like, if you care to use me as some type of barometer for what to watch, then what you're supposed to do is take the ones that you have watched that I've also watched, gauge how I felt about it against how you felt about it to start exercising the idea about whether my tastes jive with yours. Don't look for me to just recommend something and go watch it. Say, oh, he liked this. I also like this. I'll give this thing he suggested a shot. Otherwise, do what I do and just click on random things. And if it's good, it's good.
Dingus Khan said Brett can celebrate St. Patrick's Day because he's the master of the Irish goodbye.
I do love a good Irish goodbye.
That's some cultural appropriation.
I felt pretty called out the other day when I think it was you or Phil said, like, it's important to say goodbye to the person who invited you. I'm like, bro, I
think I said that.
I think you said that. I was like, I don't even do that. I just leave. I just
yeah.
But the thing is, if I hosted an event, I would not care if somebody didn't say goodbye to me. But maybe that's just me.
Well, I would care if someone came and didn't say hello to me. If I invited them.
Yeah.
That matters. Red Snow said, I'm the kind of guy who will watch a 2-hour review of a 1.5-hour movie with every spoiler explained and still go see the movie. Also the kind of guy who praises Space King. Blood sign.
Praise be to Space King.
Pop Culture Junkie said Disney source agrees. North Korean movie premiere. Yeah. I would rather go to a North Korean movie premiere.
Be more
actually.
Interesting.
Pete Donovan said, no Seamus, come on, man. Anyway, happy St. Patrick's Day to all my fellow potato babies or potato heads, either one. Aaron, go bragh? Lads and lasses? I don't...
Is that an Irish thing? I don't know.
Well, I know Aaron means Ireland.
Okay.
In Gaelic, but I don't know the rest of it. Yeah, whatever he said.
Ireland,
Weary Traveler.
Tell me it means Ireland, let's go?
I don't know. Weary Traveler said, if I had $1 billion, I'd be smiling too.
Yeah.
Red Snow said, almost forgot to praise PCC. Y'all are great. Thank you. I was waiting for that. No Control said, plot twist, Elon is personally controlling her bot. I don't know. Maybe Elon is going to swoop in and marry Kim Kardashian at some point.
That would be headline. Actually, you know what? Call me contrarian. I find that I imagine that relationship would be boring.
You think?
I just don't think it would actually make for great headlines.
Maybe they just wouldn't get along. Yeah. Shane H. Wilder said, Mary, you hate Musk because he associates with Trump. I hate Musk because he's a transhumanist. We are not the same.
It's literally the meme.
We really aren't.
It's the Giancarlo Esposito meme.
Pop Culture Junkie said, happy St. Patrick's Day. Being half Irish, I will leave you with an Irish toast. May you be in heaven half an hour after the devil knows you're dead. I don't know what that means.
Well, okay then.
I've never heard that before. I don't know what that means, but it's funny. Mr. Moose Knuckle said, I started seeing this lady who kept insisting she wasn't chronically online. Then the whole heartfelt situation happened. Then she started pulling the he's an actual Nazi, dodged a bullet there.
I mean, you don't have to be terminally online to fall for that. I'm sure the mainstream media made plenty of posts that had nothing to do with being on Reddit all day.
I think she meant that she's not chronically online, but she's still a normie lefty.
Aaron Go Bra means Ireland forever, says value in you in the chat.
Oh, okay. Didn't know.
When I think of terminally online, I think of brain rot and like 4chan and like the worst of meme culture. I don't think of the best of meme culture. I don't think of somebody who just doesn't like Elon Musk because he did this salute thing. It wasn't a Nazi salute.
Yeah, that's more of like a person who watches CNN thing.
Yeah.
Person who listens to NPR.
I'm just so bored with Nazi as a term. Can they find something new?
Yeah, come up with new material.
It's so boring.
Shane H. Wilder said, I keep a couple of bottles of nice whiskey and wine around the house for entertaining, but never touch them unless I have company.
There you go.
Yeah, I think that's just like
You
good
break out the good
etiquette.
stuff when people are over.
Yeah.
Do you break out Johnny Walker like
Because you studied.
because you studied like Luke
Did
Belmar?
Shane study? I think Shane studied. Painful said, William Gibson is a writer who penned the term cyberspace. His work includes The Peripheral, Johnny Mnemonic,
Yep.
New Rose Hotel.
I don't know New Rose Hotel, but I watched 3 episodes of The Peripheral and died of boredom.
It was really bad.
Um,
That's not to say that the original was
What's
bad.
weird about it is it had the same visual shortcomings as a lot of Hollywood, but it still looked beautifully shot. It just was kind of uninteresting. I enjoyed the color grading, the orange color grading on it more than, say, if they'd gone single tone, meaning that the oranges were highlights to the skin tones rather than just like when I'm watching Paradise and it's just blue. Everything's just fucking blue. But that show should have been like turned, like, you know how they complain now where like they turn this psychological, this great piece of psychological science fiction into like an action shoot 'em up. They should have just turned it into an action shoot 'em up. She should have been shooting somebody with a gun in the first episode.
It was just like I don't even remember the plot at all, or the premise of the
She was
show.
like a video game player, and she was better than the guy, and she had to play the
What?
game. I don't remember. Maybe I'll go back and rewatch it. Like I was pretty like erratic at that time period where I was trying stuff and turning it off right away. Maybe if I get through those,
Oh, you're not like that anymore.
I'm doing better. No, I'm doing better.
Oh, you're reforming.
I'm trying my best.
That's nice.
Clitorum in the chat says, our CSI Miami is orange during the day and blue at night or inside. Yeah, the color grading on CSI Miami was 10,000 million zillion levels better than 90% of the shit that gets made today. I will fight anyone on that.
We have a 20 from Shane H. Wilder. My favorite Irish toast, may those who love us, and for those who hate us, may God turn their hearts, and if he doesn't turn their hearts, may he turn their ankles so we may know them by their limping. That was a little wordy, but it's got the spirit.
In the chat, thank you, Shane, by the way. In the chat, Captain K says, in Paradise, you are under artificial light. But they didn't use the lighting consistently. Like, if they had used the lighting as like a visual cue in flashbacks where all the flashbacks were one color palette, that makes sense. They did not do that. So it was just visually confusing.
Hi 22 said, last week I heard someone tell their friend, I think a war is going to start in Ukraine. I quickly walked away.
Could happen. You never know.
Now
Maybe.
that's the level of offline
I want.
and disconnected
Yeah.
I want to be.
Yeah.
I would aspire to not know. Wow. It's been like 3 years, right? How many years?
2022, right?
Damn.
Yeah.
It's a long time. Award-winning blank said, on the road welding, listening to PCC passively, and it's awesome.
Well, we aspire to always be your fantastic background noise every day of the week, Monday through Friday, while you're listening at work. That's what we
How
want.
are we doing?
Uh,
We should have a hotline that's like, how's my podcasting?
yes. We're getting close to a third crisis party, and we still got a couple of minutes here. So
Maybe we should do some voicemails for episode 800 the way we did.
I have to go and look if there's any
Couple
on
hundred
there.
back.
Yeah, I can go check.
Well, if that channel still exists, then it can still be used for this one, right?
I believe it's still up there in the.
We should check. If it's still up there, then we should use it.
Let me check.
I thought that was a fun thing to do.
Oh, please.
When Tim is on here, he's going to have like no clue how to conduct himself because this show is just so chaotic.
Yep.
Like
It's-
everything is so
guys, the
calm and collected on IRL.
The PCC Collins channel on Discord is still there. Leave a voicemail, make it family friendly, user friendly, and we will get into them on episode 800. Starting
Okay.
now. I'm going to look at the date starting now.
Now you know if you're already a member of the Discord, then you will see it there.
Yes. One more there. Guys, let's get to a third crisis party. Come on.
No Control said, don't be modest. You are foreground noise.
That's the nicest thing anybody's ever said to me.
Wow. Thank you. I don't listen to anything as foreground noise.
Jason,
Like, I don't sit down and like just listen to a podcast without anything else going on.
Jason the chat is the big brain here. Says Ukraine has been going on since 2014, 2015. Well, we weren't talking about like the initial invasion of Crimea. We were talking more what's going on now. So, post Trump, start of Biden's term.
Actually.
Everybody hates a good actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I think we're all caught up then.
Oh, one more there.
Adam said Mary has to do a review for Snow White as the monster princess.
You should. Would you go as like evil?
What is that?
Would you go as evil Snow White? Get you like the? Do they make like the Snow
is
White?
that?
Did they make like the Snow White gown but all black?
I'm not really a cosplayer.
Yeah, that's true.
Personally.
Red Snow says need to
not
come
really
up
my
with a good
thing.
sign off. Bye. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Usually your sign off is last.
I was telling Mary the other day, is like I'm so my brain's so out of it that like I can only do the outro when we're doing the outro. I was trying to remember it in
you
the
were
car.
saying you're trying to rehearse it or something.
I can't. Well, not. I was like,
you didn't know what you said.
I don't know how to do it unless I'm actually doing the outro.
That's when I called you an MK Ultra victim.
I'm probably an MK Ultra victim. It's probably true. All right. All right, guys, before we go, hit the like button on this video and subscribe to this channel if you are new here and you have not subscribed here already. Remember, guys, next on Wednesday, this Wednesday, episode 800, we will be streaming from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. to celebrate doing 800 of these things. It's absolutely insane. All right, Mary, where can they find you?
You can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived.
Perfect. If you guys want to follow me, I am on Instagram and on Twix at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. We are here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is noon Pacific, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify if you would like to listen rather than watch this show. And if you want to follow the show on social media, we are on Twix at popculture_show, Facebook, and not TikTok because we were banned on TikTok, at Pop Culture Crisis, and on Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. Guys, we will be back with another episode tomorrow. Remember, episode 800 on Wednesday. We will see y'all tomorrow. Bye everyone.